From city streets to tidal islands and engineering icons, this stretch of the journey just shows how varied Scotland's coast really is as I continue to drive the entire coast of the mainland. That is incredible. Well, good morning folks. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. It's pretty cold in here. I've had the heater on for 10 minutes though, so it's warming up, and I've got the kettle on as well. Gonna go and make myself a quick coffee, go and grab a shower, and then head into the city centre. Right, so that's me just parked up in Edinburgh. £25 for 6 hours, right in the city centre essentially, just a short walk away, which isn't too bad for Edinburgh, to be honest. So yeah, I'm just going to make myself a coffee to take with me, and then set off. And our first stop today for sunrise, Calton Hill. Watching Edinburgh wake slowly stirs something inside you. From up here on Calton Hill, you can see a city built layer by layer, not just in stone, but in ideas. Below me, Princes Street stretches out towards the castle, a reminder that this was once the dividing line between the old worlds and new thinking. To the west, the old town rises tight and dense, shaped by medieval life, faith and survival. And to the east, the city opens out. Places like the St James's Quarter, where Edinburgh continues to reinvent itself. But what makes this city truly remarkable isn't just how it looks, it's what came from here. During the Scottish Enlightenment, thinkers, scientists and inventors questioned how the world worked, and in doing so, helped shape the modern one. As the sun rises over Arthur's Seat, it feels like the perfect place to pause, before heading back down into the streets and into the ideas that built this city. Everything in Edinburgh seems to lead back to this ridge, the Royal Mile. For centuries, this was the spine of the city, a place of power, trade, belief and debate, running from the castle down to Holyrood. These streets weren't designed to be beautiful, they were built to survive. Tall tenements stacked people on top of one another, creating one of the most densely populated cities in Europe at the time. And yet, out of this pressure came ideas that would travel far beyond these closes and courtyards. One of these ideas belongs to Adam Smith. Smith was born just along the coast in Kirkcaldy, but it was here in Edinburgh that his thinking took shape. His work on modern economics and moral philosophy helped lay the foundations of the modern world, questioning how societies organise themselves, how wealth moves, and how people behave within systems far bigger than themselves. It's strange to think that ideas formed on streets like these still influence how countries operate today. And beneath the Royal Mile lies another city entirely. Places like real Mary King's Close and Advocates Close give a glimpse into how people actually lived, dark, crowded spaces where disease, poverty and everyday life existed side by side. Edinburgh isn't a city that hides its past, it's layered, and sometimes those layers are right beneath your feet. And the National Museum of Scotland brings those layers together. Science, innovation, art and natural history all under one roof, reflecting a city that has always valued learning and curiosity. This was the heartbeat of the Scottish Enlightenment, the belief that knowledge should be shared, challenged and built upon. That progress came not from certainty, but from asking better questions. And Edinburgh's influence doesn't just stop with philosophy and science. Just around the corner, Victoria Street curves through the Old Town. Its shape and colour famously inspired the modern author J.K. Rowling as she wrote the first Harry Potter books here in the city. In nearby Greyfriars Kirkyard, names on the headstones found their way into her stories, proof that even fiction in Edinburgh is rooted in real streets, real people and real history. It's a city where imagination feels woven into the stonework. And from viewpoints like the Venel, the city suddenly makes sense. The old town rising sharply towards the castle, built on volcanic rock, defensive by necessity. Every close and stairway a response to the landscape beneath it. Edinburgh wasn't planned to impress, it was shaped by geography, conflict and survival. Here, the Scott Monument stands as a reminder that Edinburgh has always valued its storytellers. Sir Walter Scott helped shape how the world sees Scotland, blending history, myth and romance into stories that travelled far beyond these streets. It is fitting that his monument towers over the city, watching the modern world move through a place so deeply tied to its past. And from Princes Street Gardens, the castle dominates everything. For over 1,000 years, it has been key to this city, a fortress, a royal residence, and a symbol of control. And below it, places like Ross Fountain soften the scene. Edinburgh is a place of contrast, order and chaos, reason and imagination, history and reinvention. And Edinburgh's influence doesn't stop with philosophy, architecture or literature. This city, and Scotland more widely, has been a powerhouse of innovation for centuries. Ideas born here have quietly reshaped everyday life across the world without anyone really knowing it. The telephone, the ATM cash machine, the car speedometer, advances in medicine and science from the first use of chloroform as an anaesthetic, to the development of the hypodermic syringe, and even the cloning of Dolly the sheep just outside the city. Inventions that feel ordinary now were once radical ideas. Things like the electric toaster, the kaleidoscope, the flushing toilet, and the Encyclopaedia Britannica, all with roots in Edinburgh and the surrounding area. But this is only a small part of the story. During the Scottish Enlightenment, Scotland's thinkers, engineers and innovators went on to shape the modern world in ways most of us use every single day. From the television, penicillin and MRI scanners, to the refrigerator, the bicycle, the vacuum flask and disposable contact lenses. From fingerprint identification and adhesive postage stamps to logarithms, colour photography, pneumatic tyres, waterproof clothing and the improvements that made steam engines more powerful, efficient and affordable worldwide. And of course golf, and the list could go on. It's a legacy that reaches far beyond this city or country. As Winston Churchill once said, of all the small nations of this earth, perhaps only the ancient Greeks surpass the Scots in their contribution to mankind. And when you visit this city and just take it in, it's hard to argue with any of that. Well, what an amazing time there I had in Edinburgh. And it was great just being able to go to the city and act like a tourist, essentially. You know, it's a funny thing, I did mention it before, but I've never really explored Edinburgh that much, believe it or not, even though I've lived just over the bridge and grew up in Cooper in Fife. But it's not somewhere I've ever really explored, and I actually lived there for a year as well at one point. But if you follow me on social media for a while, you know I'm pretty open to discussing the sort of challenges I faced in my late 20s to my mid to late 30s with pretty severe depression. And that time in Edinburgh was probably the height of it, really. I came for work, and the 12 months that I worked in Edinburgh, I think I was off for 6 of them. I didn't really leave my bed or my couch. It was a pretty awful time. So I didn't, even when I lived there, I didn't really get to experience it in the right way. And it just felt great. I mean, pretty much most things that I've taken videos of there, I haven't done. I hadn't been up Calton Hill. I have walked down Victoria Street, but I didn't really pay much attention to it. And of course, I know Princess Street, but I'd never gone to see Greyfriars Kirkyard or anything like that, really. So it was great just being able to walk among the old town. You know, I spent quite a bit of time in Leith because I lived down in the sort of waterfront, down near the, not too far from the shore when I lived in Edinburgh. So I have sort of seen that. So it was great being able to come here and basically, like I said, just act like a tourist and discover new things. And I hope you enjoyed coming with me as well. Right now I'm down in Portobello again, and I've heard there's a restaurant here that does incredible burgers, and I am starving, so I'm going to go and grab one. Hey folks, well, that was absolutely superb. The reviews were really, really good for the burgers and just for the place in general, and it really lived up to expectations. It was delicious. And the slaw, the homemade slaw, I don't know if they put like sriracha mayo in it or something like that as well. I thought he was bringing me a dish of dirty fries, which I didn't order. But honestly, top notch, highly recommend. And I'm so glad I went there because I was going to go earlier to a place. They do like Cuban sandwiches in Portobello, and the Cuban sandwiches there are meant to be superb. It was called, what was it called again? Mamacita's Miami Eats. That was it. And I was going to go there earlier, but they were closed today when I was here. So, and I have to move on tonight. So I didn't get a chance to try them, but it worked out well because when I went down to get the burger, it was early. It was 5 o'clock. And all the tables were booked pretty much for a quiz from 6 p.m. onwards, so it's quite fortunate. So it all worked out and went to plan. Well, good morning, folks. A very wet, blustery night last night. Van was shaking quite a bit during the night. You can always see it when these lights start sort of going from side to side. And it's still a little bit blustery out there at the moment, but it's a way to calm down, I think, over the next sort of hour or so, which is great. I'm just going to make myself a coffee, get tidied up a little bit. Bright and breezy today, another stunning winter day in Scotland. I've been so lucky with the weather at the start of this trip. It's been fantastic, don't get me wrong, I've had a couple of down days with the rain, but I can use those days for editing and things like that, so it's been absolutely fine. You know, if you watched last week's episode, we travelled from North Berwick into Edinburgh and Portobello, and this morning I took just a short drive along to one of its northwestern suburbs, a little village called Cramond, and I'm about to do something that I've wanted to do for a rather long time, and that is walk to Cramond Island. Let's go on a wee adventure. I'm going to go and check out these buildings first. I've heard you have to be careful around them because they're not maintained or anything like that. I think, well, they look like World War II defences, gunneries maybe, I'm not sure. I'll go and check them out anyway. What a morning. Typical graffiti. Not a bad view though. That was pretty cool. Just gonna go for a wee wander about, maybe see if I can get near the top. I can see someone with a tent up there, so someone's camped. It's a cool spot to do it, to be fair. That might make a good episode actually, wouldn't it? Come and do a wild camp, bring my hot tent with my wood burning stove and everything in it. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see, because it would be pretty cool, and I could fish off the island when the tide's in, try and catch my dinner. Look at that view from the top. Wow. You can actually see the three bridges, the Forth bridges. I'll try and zoom in if I can't. There you go. You can see the big Queensferry crossing in the background and the old Forth rail bridge. Well, after a little walk around, it's definitely time for my morning coffee. I woke up pretty bleary-eyed, let's say. And this has just been the perfect way to start my day. I'm so lucky. It was raining all last night. I thought it was going to be raining today. I don't know if this is just a break. The clouds do look really grey over there, over Edinburgh, and they're coming this way, so I might have just got extremely fortunate. But I'll take it. Now, one thing that surprised me about Cramond Island was just how beautiful it was. When you look at it from the sky, all those colours just come bursting to life. And if this is what it looks like in winter, I can't even imagine what it must look like in summer. It is beautiful. Well, that was brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And you know what I really like about this place as well? It's a huge big car park here to go and visit the village. And there is a full sort of Cramond trail that you can do as well. I'm not going to have time to do that today before I move on, but I'll definitely be back to do it. But I would imagine with a car park this size, it must get pretty busy during the sort of summer months. But I'm definitely going to return and check more of the village out and go and do the rest of that trail. It was a lovely walk over there, beautiful little island. And I'm definitely going to wild camp on there one day, that's for sure. But I do need to move on, unfortunately. Today I'm going to drive further up the coast towards Linlithgow and check out a real crown jewel of this section of the coast sitting on the Firth of Forth. And it's a place I've never been before, Blackness Castle. Right, so before we get to Blackness Castle, I'm going to take a little drive through the beautiful South Queensferry. I know it quite well. My brother lived in South Queensferry with his wife for many years, so I'm quite familiar with it. But for those of you watching from afar, it's a stunning place, and you get an amazing view of the Forth road bridges and the engineering marvel that is the Forth rail bridge. And I'm going to take you to it. One of the things about South Queensferry as well, there's loads of really nice little cafes and shops and things like that. Not going to have time to stop in today, unfortunately. But I do want to take you to an amazing viewpoint, because it's probably the best place to see the Forth Road bridges and the iconic Forth rail bridge. You're literally right at it. What I'm going to do is go to the east of the Forth rail bridge, because I think this is where you get the best view of it. But you can't drive down here, you have to walk it or cycle it. You do go past a little pottery place on the way here as well. But that's what South Queensferry's like. There's lots of little unique businesses, amazing restaurants. The Hawes Inn was a regular haunt from me and my brother and his wife when I visited. It was great. I don't know what it's like now, but it was brilliant back then. But oh yeah, now look at this view. Standing here, you're looking at 3 bridges built in 3 different centuries. The Forth Rail Bridge completed in 1890, the Forth Road Bridge opened in 1964, and the new Queensferry crossing finished in 2017. Together they chart over 100 years of engineering progress, but it's the oldest of the 3 that still commands the most attention. The Forth Rail Bridge was built at a time when pushing steel to this scale was considered dangerous, even reckless. Its bold cantilever design stretched across the Firth of Forth, using more than 50,000 tonnes of steel, creating something the world had never seen before. But this achievement came at a cost. At least 73 men are known to have lost their lives during its construction. Engineers, riveters and labourers, many working high above the water with little protection by modern standards. Nearby, their names and trades are recorded on a memorial, a reminder that structures like this aren't just built with calculations and drawings, they're built by people. For decades, this bridge was also famous for its colour. Painters worked continuously, moving from one end to the other, maintaining its iconic red coating, a job that was said to never truly finish. As they got to one end, they had to start at the other. Today, modern coatings mean that the cycle is finally ended, preserving the bridge for generations to come. Still in daily use more than a century on, the Forth Rail Bridge is now recognised as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, not just for how it was built, but for what it represents: ambition, sacrifice, and engineering done on a truly monumental scale. Well, I'm glad I did that, went to that viewpoint. I've not been in years, And I absolutely love that view. You can never get sick of it. The Forth rail bridge is just a masterpiece of engineering, especially back then. It is an incredible view, and it was great to see some trains crossing at the time as well. But time to move on. Blackness Castle, here I come. This is Blackness Castle, often called the ship that never sailed. From the water, its shape gives it away. A long stone hull, a raised stern, and walls that feel more like a vessel than a fortress. Built in the mid-15th century by Sir George Crichton, it was designed to control the stretch of the Firth of Forth, guarding trade routes, collecting customs, and projecting royal power from the shoreline. Over time, Blackness became more than a castle. It served as a state prison, holding some of Scotland's most powerful figures, and later as a military stronghold. As warfare changed, so did its role. Its thick walls and commanding position made it ideal for storing munitions and defending the coast. Remarkably, Blackness remained in military use well into the 20th century. During both World Wars, it functioned as a naval depot, finally falling silent as a working installation after the Second World War. Today, the castle is cared for by Historic Environment Scotland, preserving it not as a ruin, but as a living record of how Scotland's coastline was defended, controlled, and contested. And standing here now with the water lapping at its walls, it's easy to see why Blackness earned its nickname, a stone warship permanently anchored to the shore. I wonder if you can get in the main sort of tower block here. Fingers crossed, because I really want to. This is such an amazing castle. Loving it. Well, you can. What does this say? The main mast or prison tower. A residential unit used for the 15th century castle, used chiefly as a state prison until 1707 and then converted into a soldier's barracks. The stair tower on the right was added in 1667. And one of the most famous prisoners here was David Beaton, the Archbishop of St Andrews. He was held here from January to April 1543, and this may well have been his room. Oh wow. This great hall was at the heart of castle life. Used for royal banquets when the king visited, it was created during alterations between 1537 and 1543. Well, that was absolutely awesome. That's right up there with one of the best castles I've ever visited, I reckon. And it's just got such a unique shape and structure. Unfortunately, I can't fly my drone here because I would love to show you the overhead view of what it actually looks like and why they say it's called the ship that never sailed. Because it does, the way it kind of looks out onto the Forth, it does look like a vessel. It's just a beautiful castle. It's so well maintained by Historic Environment Scotland. They do such a good job with all these places. And this one was top notch and you can walk freely among it. I had it completely to myself this afternoon and I'm so glad I decided to make this stop. I'd never been before, always wanted to, and it's exceeded my expectations by far. I can't remember how much I paid to get in. I think it was like £10. Really, really, really well worth it. If you're ever down this way on the East Coast, highly recommend you check it out. But anyway, what I'm going to do now, I'm pretty tired. I've had a pretty full day of filming. I'm going to head towards my next destination, which is the Falkirk sort of area. And I'm just going to get parked up for the night, I think, and call it a night, and then start again tomorrow. There's one thing in Falkirk that I really want to go and see. I've never been before, but like today, we've seen a marvel of engineering with the Forth rail bridge and the other Forth road bridges as well, of course. But tomorrow, another marvel of engineering too in Falkirk. In fact, it's the only example of this kind of engineering in the world. So I'm really looking forward to going and seeing it. Well, folks, that's me just parked up for the night, and that is me. I'm just going to do a little bit of editing and stuff just now. And if you've watched the first 2 episodes, you'll know that I've talked about how I organise all my footage for these episodes and things of that nature. And I've had quite a lot of DMs asking a little bit more detail about it. So very quickly, I'm just going to show you my process after a day of filming, essentially, which today has been, and what I actually do to get all my footage organised for creating these YouTube episodes. So currently, what I'm using to film are 3 DJI cameras. I've got the Pocket 3, the DJI Nano, and the Action 5. And then an Insta360 camera, which uses an invisible selfie stick, and mine can extend up to 3 meters, which is why a lot of my footage using that can almost look like drone shots following me. And I also use the DJI Mini 3 Pro drone. And I do also have the Avata 2, which is a very different type of drone. I haven't had a chance to really fly it yet. And I'm hoping that later on in this series, I'll be proficient enough at flying it to actually be able to use it and showcase the sort of shots that it gets as I go further north. But it is going to take time, it's going to take practice. I've got to wear goggles, and it literally puts you in the cockpit of the drone. It's very different from flying a sort of standard drone, if you like. And it should give you, it should be able to give me really sweeping coastal views and climbing up waterfalls and diving back down them and things like of that nature. But to be able to do that, I need to be very proficient at flying it. And I've not even started flying it yet. So you're not going to see any of that content from that drone for quite some time. But essentially, I'll just talk you through my process. I have a box here which is just full of memory cards. Now, all of these micro SD cards have already been used, and they're all numbered 1 to 10 so far. And and each number correlates with the camera that's been used. So number 1, drone; number 2, DJI Pocket 3, Insta360 number 3. And as these memory cards fill up, I keep them here. But every night or every couple of nights after a day or a couple of days of filming, I'll take the micro SD cards out of each camera and put them into my laptop. And then I'll take all of that footage and put it onto an external hard drive. I have a 5 terabyte hard drive here. It's just about full. And I started this process when I first started posting on YouTube last February 2025. And it just means that they're on the hard drive and that's connected to the laptop. That's where I do my editing, but I've got backups as well. I don't get rid of these. It's an expensive way to do it because each memory card costs at least 50 quid if you're getting half a terabyte, 512 megabyte card. But it just gives me a fail-safe, so I've got them here anyway. And I also keep a track of it on the actual laptop itself, and I'll show you what I mean. I have all my SD card locations there, and it's all numbered 1, 2, 3, so it correlates with the numbers where I've got my micro SD card stored. So this is all the locations I've been filming really since I started posting on YouTube, and you can see they relate to different cameras. So once those memory cards are full, the next one goes on that list, and then we'll eventually go in that box once it's full. So here you can see my Scotland folder, and this is all the locations I currently have. So Arran, Camasdarrick, Cooking, Cullen, NC 500, POV of me driving, Sana Bay, etc, etc, the Isle of Mull. So let's go into the Isle of Mull, and then you'll see all the locations there: Benmore, Calgary Bay, Cheese and Spirits Cafe, driving the other side of Benmore, Fidden Farm, Gribbon Rocks, Isle of Mull Distillery, Three Lochs Viewpoint, Uskin Beach, etc. And then what I've done inside each of these folders, so let's try and get one that's got a few more cameras on it. Iona, right, so here you've got Iona, you've got the Abbey, there's an intro, so I've got the intro for the YouTube episode there, the Abbey itself, and then I've got it broken down in the cameras, so I've got 360, DJI, so I know what camera and where it is. Living space, so that's me either in the van or just talking outside of it, eating in the van or whatever. I've got an outro already filmed as well. I've got a sunset time lapse that was taken on one of my cameras. And then Trey and Sue, I've got drone shots, 360 shots, the beach, and that's where I did the wild camp. So I've got on my DJI 3 camera, I've got beach sound recordings because I try to use natural sounds whenever I can. I've got my cold dip footage from that camera. I've just got general footage that I've taken from the actual wild camp itself from the DJI. That could be me speaking, it could be B-roll for music to go over as well. And then obviously time lapses, so I've got sunrise, the sunset, the tent build, and if you go into that again, I've got my drone shots from that as well, and my 360 shots too. So essentially what I'm trying to do when I categorize everything is know what camera it's from, know the location specifically, and it just makes it easier to find. So when I go to create an episode, I know exactly what the footage is related to, what camera it's from. Is it an intro, is it an outro, is it a transition moment? And one thing I've really started doing more often is when I have driving footage of the van and you see the road out ahead, as soon as I press record, I say where I'm going. So for my last episode, I might have said, this is the road from North Berwick to Preston Mill. And that's right at the start of the recording, so I know what that road is. Because after 2 or 3 days, if you've not done this, you're going back through footage and you're like, where was that again? So it's just like little things like that that you do along the way just to try and be a little bit more organised and know exactly what it is you're filming and when. And it just makes the editing process so much easier when it comes to that sort of point, really. And that's it. That's how I organise all my footage. And I hope that's been helpful to those of you that asked about it. I'm just about to do a little bit more editing and then I'm going to bed. So I'll catch you in the morning. I am really excited for this. Never been here before. What do you think? You think my van needs a bit of a clean? Yeah, I think so too.
They all just look the same to me now.
Yeah.
Just a ticket for myself, please.
Ticket.
What's that, sorry?
What trips aren't operating at the moment?
Oh.
The wheels getting the annual maintenance done.
Okay,
Everything's on the ground.
There's no water in the basin.
got you. But can you walk around or is
As
it?
long as you don't go behind a barrier.
Right, okay, so you can still go out. And the parking's free, I saw that on the... Okay, perfect. Thanks very much.
Out there, you'll have to walk round the building.
There's a door.
There's a door and just walk round. Okay, perfect, thanks very much. Well, as you heard, it's actually closed for maintenance over the winter period. You can actually go on a little boat tour that takes you over the wheel. I would have loved to have done it, but the basin's been completely emptied for them to do the works, and I suppose if you're going to do maintenance, this is the time of year to do it because it will be busy in spring and summer. I'm going to walk up this hill here a little bit and try and get a nice view of it. And I saw a sign there saying you can fly your drone as long as you do it responsibly and you know what you're doing, you know your laws, etc. So I'm going to try and get some drone shots and tell you a little bit more about it. The Falkirk Wheel was completed in 2002, and it is the only rotating boat lift of its kind in the world. Built to reconnect Scotland's Forth and Clyde Canal with the Union Canal, it replaced a flight of old locks with a single elegant movement, lifting boats 24 metres into the air using surprisingly little energy. Today it is looked after by Scottish Canals, standing as a reminder that modern engineering can be both practical and beautiful. Right, so I did my best to try and get some footage and to explain it. Gutted I didn't get a chance to actually go on the boat and go over it. That would have been fantastic. And like I said, I'd never been before, so I was really looking forward to doing it and obviously filming it at the same time. And I didn't check before I came that it was whether it was open or closed or not. And you can still obviously walk near it where the guys are doing the work, but the basin's empty, there's no water and stuff. But it's a fascinating place, so I'm definitely going to make a point of coming back here probably spring, summertime, and actually getting to experience it fully. But hopefully I've given you a bit of understanding about how it works. And the boat trip would be fantastic. So if you ever do come to this area, it's definitely a stop you could make. And if you're in a motorhome or a camper van, you can actually park in one of the car parks here overnight as well. In the winter, I've seen the signs, it was £10 a night. I think it's £15 normally. And I'm pretty sure there's toilets and there's chemical waste disposal, but don't quote me on that. You will see whether it's got that or not on the Park for Night app, which for any van lifers that are watching that maybe don't use that, I would highly recommend it. It's how I find the majority of my park ups when I'm travelling anywhere, whether it's here or whether it was when I was in France or Switzerland. It's very, very handy. But I'm going to go and get parked up not too far from here, just along the road. Again, another big car park like this down at the Kelpies, and that's going to be me for the night. And we're going to go and have a look at them. I've never seen them at night before, and they do light up. And hopefully, regardless of whether it's winter or not, they still light up at this time of year. But you can park there overnight as well, so that's where I'm heading next. Now it's time for me to make a wee snack whilst I wait for the sun to go down, only around about an hour or so. I've got some pita bread here, and I'm just gonna get my little toasting grill out. I've talked about this before, but you can get it on my Amazon storefront. There'll be a link in the description of this video. I've got one for van life essentials and one for filming equipment. But this is great for just toasting bread and things like that. It saves me actually having a toaster and using more electric, having it plugged in. I'm literally just gonna open these up, put some ham and cheese inside, and then grill them on that. Lovely jubbly. Right, so I did get parked up at the Kelpies car park. It's a nice big car park as well. You can stay overnight, £15. They've got toilets and all that kind of stuff as well. And I went for a wee nap in the afternoon because I was just shattered. But I wanted to come down here at night because they get lit up and I've never seen them lit up before. So I'm quite excited to see what it's going to look like. And it should be a really fitting way to end this episode. So join me next week as I head further along the coast to visit the Pineapple, before heading further inland to Stirling, Wallace Monument, Stirling Castle, and much, much more. Like and subscribe for more van life adventures.